Congratulations. How does it feel?
It feels good. It feels really good, actually. Coming coming into this organization, you know what I mean, and representing Canada meant a lot to me. And I really feel like I dropped the ball twice. Well, I did actually drop the ball twice, but I really wanted to prove to everybody back home and my long-term fans that I belonged here and I could represent my country and everything at the highest level. So it feels good to get this win.
Was there pressure thinking not only do you need a win, but you need a job? Did you feel that like this may be it, this may be my last chance?
Of course, that was definitely something that was going through my mind. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like we get in this sport and we get into this to fight, and most importantly, I just wanted to perform. So like all the other stuff, I put in my tomorrow's gonna come, tonight, whatever. Most importantly, I just wanted to make sure that I would just at least perform tonight. You know what I mean? Whether or not I got the win or not was going to be something that was, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. But what I couldn't live without was going without a good performance. So I think I got a decent performance this time, and still not my best performance, but enough to get the win and give me another shot.
Did the fight go as planned? Is that how you kind of pictured it, or were there surprises in there?
There was definitely some surprises. I never watched this fight. I left it to my coaches to kind of watch and guide me throughout this entire training camp, and to make sure I was making the right decisions throughout the camp and whatnot. And we had to get after him and get him to the ground. And he surprised me with his strength. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was going to be as strong as he was. And obviously, being from Brazil and being the former champ's younger brother, I knew he was going to be a well-rounded fighter. So, I knew I had some work cut out for me, and it wasn't going to be an easy fight. But that being said, I think I weathered for the majority of the storm that he brought, and I was able to keep myself composed. And even in the spots where I was in danger, I think I held my composure pretty well, and dug myself out of some bad spots without leaving too many holes.
And now that you've got that win, when do you want to get back in there?
As soon as possible, really. I personally, I still think I have a lot to develop, especially fighting at the highest level here. And we're still kind of putting the pieces together back home with, training camp and training partners. And COVID's not necessarily completely out and over with in Canada as well, too. We're still dealing with lockdowns. And I think we're just getting to the stages where the gyms are starting to get open again. So you know what I mean? So, I think there's still a lot going on there. And I pride myself in being Canadian and in keeping my camps Canadian and training in Canada. So, we still got some work to do there.
And do you have any opponent in mind?
Absolutely not. I've kind of been following the flyweight division, and it's constantly evolving. And, so I just kind of want to see like what happens and what comes up with next. You know what I mean? I think there's been a couple of fights last weekend that there were some guys that were on the same page as me, got their first win. And so I think that everything's kind of in the mix, and I kind of like that, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of fights that are very interesting in this division that would stylistically match well for me. So I think it's a good, this is good, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Oh, I got one right here.
Sorry.
Sorry about that, man. The kneebar moment, can you just walk me through that one? Just what were you feeling? What were you thinking? How close it was and all that?
It was close. It was good. I've been there before though, you know what I mean? He's got good jiu-jitsu, but I trained with one of the best jiu-jitsu artists in the world, Mike Imparado, and like you can't really get me in a submission anymore unless you got it like 300%, because when Mike Imprado's got it on me, it's over. And he likes to do that move too, like that sit-in heel hook. And the moment when he tried to do that, I was like, nah, there's no way. You know what I mean? My ankle can go a lot further than that, unfortunately, because I've been in much deeper waters with that move. So yeah.
Can you talk a little bit? You brought it up, like fighting for your UFC job. I mean, do you feel like you're going to carry that, like just sleep easier? Because I'm assuming, when it's on your mind, just there's a level of anxiety just in everyday life when you're training.
you know, at the end of the day, there's no jobs really certain. You know what I mean? You can be replaced at any time, any moment, whatever. So, you know, you got to sleep regardless. I think for me, it was just getting out there and just getting a W and performing. You know what I mean? Because my last 2 showings, I was in the cage for under a minute, right? So, and I knew I was better than that. And it like every day just bothered me because I was like, you know what I mean? Like, you've been there 2 showings and you've been under a minute in that cage. And so to finally get some actual ring time in there feels good.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats on the big win. I know you were kind of critical of your performance, but now that you kind of settled down a little bit, reflected, what do you grade it from a scale of 1 to a 10? Because, hey, one of the judges had it 3 rounds, nothing for you.
Oh, yeah. I still think this is a 6 out of 10 for sure. This was not my best fight. There's still a lot to work on, you know what I mean? Still very sloppy in a lot of areas. And, you know, some of the wrestling, very sloppy. I'm definitely going to go back to the drawing board again and work even harder. You know what I mean? There's still a lot to work on to get, you know, to the next level. You know what I mean? I really do think I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to be the champ of this division or be in title contention or one of the top 10 in the world. And since I started fighting, I've always, you know, wanted to be number 1. You know what I mean? So that performance was nowhere close to high level. So I got to keep working. I got to keep going.
Right on, man. And I know you'll come back better. You mentioned not watching tape. Elaborate on that. Does watching tape on an opponent make you think, oh, I got to watch that left hook. I got to watch that roundhouse? Is it like a mental thing that way you just adjust on the fly, or what's going on with not watching tape?
Yeah, I think sometimes I watch a little bit too much tape and I have a tendency to overthink a lot of what the opponent's going to do. So I'm thinking about what they're going to do before I actually do it. I'm anticipating a little bit too much. I think this one helped me a lot because, you know, I didn't know what to expect. So it kind of kept me on my toes. If you were to tell me he was going to be throwing flying knees at me, I might have reacted a little bit differently. Maybe I wouldn't have taken as many shots or whatever, right? So I'm glad that I didn't. I think that it played out well. I think it played out really well, not being too overly focused on what he could have done. You know what I mean? Every fighter changes and evolves every fight. So I think it's just sometimes even unfair to just say, like, this guy's going to be this way because he was that way last time, right? Like, we change constantly. We constantly evolve. That's what makes us better and better every time.
Good stuff, man. And obviously you're on your way. You were a 3-1 underdog. You beat the brothers champ, like you said. So clearly, sky's the limit from here. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Quick one from me over here real quickly. Malcolm, I saw that you got a chance to train over at the Performance Institute. What do you think about that as far as an option? That's not something you get to do every time?
No, it's beautiful. The stuff that the UFC is doing for the athletes these days with like the Performance Institute and all the amenities that it provides, it's just like, it's incredible. You know what I mean? I wish really and truly, because I'm based out of Toronto. I wish the UFC actually had a Performance Institute, like a Canada home base in Toronto. That would be amazing, right? Just so, some of the Canadian athletes would have a place to train based out of Canada. But I love the Performance Institute. It's incredible. You know what I mean? It's huge for what it's doing for some of the athletes. It's life changing, really. Sometimes.
That's excellent to hear. And with the first upset of the night, it is Las Vegas. Obviously, your gambling odds were plus 250 going into that run. At the end of that, you probably made a bunch of people here in Las Vegas happy, I would assume.
Yeah.
Is that something you ever look at before the fight, after the fight?
You know what? I was plugging my ears every time like something would come up. I was watching like ESPN yesterday. I saw the odds were popping up when I was like turn the TV off. It's for sure. The Vegas odds is so like off, you know what I mean? Because they don't know like what's going on deep in the training camp. Like, where do they even come up with these things, really? It's like because he was a champ's brother or something, you know what I mean? So they didn't know the time, the hours, so many other things that go into the fights, whatnot. So I think sometimes these odds are a little bit like, they're skewed.
Don't feel bad. We live here. We have no idea how it works either.
Right?
Congrats again on the win.